Good evening, everybody. Welcome inside the St. Thomas Arena here in Mendota Heights as Eden Prairie travels to the East Metro to take on the St. Thomas Cadets. Hi, everybody. Patrick Lilia alongside Brett Johnson. We'll have John Conley joining us on air in a little bit here. Eden Prairie coming in riding a 4-game winless streak, continuing to have major problems in the penalty kill. They gave up 2 more power play goals in their most recent game, a 3-2 loss to the Prairie Lake Lakers last week at Dakota Ice Arena. It doesn't get any easier tonight as they take on the number 3 ranked Cadets, led by the Christie brothers up front, Ray and Rob. Ray headed off to Colorado College to start his college career after this season. Eden Prairie in the Road Reds with black trim. As the Eagles win the faceoff, here's Carson Jones quickly pushing ahead into the offensive zone, plays it around the net to Jensen. Irwin trying to send it toward the net, but it's blocked, and then deflects toward the right side corner, where coming out with it is Thomas Winges for the Cadets. And then flipped up and ahead by Rob Christie, and we'll have a quick stoppage of play. Only 23 seconds into the game, no score. Well, the Eagles, as mentioned, went into that game at Prairie Lake just killing off 60.6% of penalties, and they gave up 2 further goals on the power play, excuse me. And that one pushed out to center ice, and then forced ahead into the zone by Peyton Matsui, the leading goal scorer for the Cadets with 12. As Jensen trying to push it ahead to the blue line, but sent back in, held in. And scoring! It's Rob Christie. That's his 5th goal of the season. Rob Christie just sort of finding that loose puck, and he's able to bang it in. Not even 2 minutes into the game at Eden Prairie, already down 1-0. Goal coming at 1:46 of the first period. Rob Christie with his 5th. He's had a tough hill already for Eden Prairie to climb, coming in at just 5-6-1. As here's Will Height quickly ahead into the zone. And the Cadets the other way now. Getting into the zone is Cade Huntley. So Brendan McFadden, they're on the far side. As Huntley comes out with it, held in nicely at the blue line by Andrew Bamer. Sam Pager trying to set something up. That one almost sneaks its way past the senior goaltender, Andrew Dietrich. We have a face-off to the left of Dietrich. Dietrich getting the start tonight. Ben Bolus got the nod in the previous game. Dietrich allowing 4.16 goals on the year, average per game. Pikowski taking the face-off for the Eagles against Ryan O'Neill. O'Neill booted from the face-off circle. It'll be Nico Vega taking the face-off instead. Controlled by the Cadets coming out of the face-off. Eagles, Irwin takes a big hit behind the net. In the far side corner, Eagles having some trouble getting it out of the zone. They do. There's Ryan Lesko at the red line, sends it in deep. Will Schimek for the Cadets. That one taken away from him. Eagles able to hold at the line. Lesko sends it back in toward the Cadet goal area. Cadets come out with it. They come the other way. Here's Vega. But able to catch up to it first is Busby. Luke Busby hooks that one ahead to Grain. Here come the Eagles with Pikowski. Lesko back to Irwin at the red line. Irwin gains the blue line. Throws it toward the net. That'll go high. Sort of slapped at by the goaltender number 30, Atticus Kelly for the Cadets. Here's Irwin able to hold that one in onside. Sort of a little bit of a risky pass there. Cadets the other way with Rob Christie. Christie brothers on the ice. Here's Jensen at the red line. As Matsui takes a hit and has the puck knocked away from him. It's Middlestead playing in front of Rob Christie as Christie works his way in front of the net. Now sent back around the Eagle net. Middlestead takes a hit there from Chase Foley. Good forecheck so far as Rob Christie sends that one back into the Eagle zone. Eagles come out the other way with Jones. Jones trying to work his way around Ben Stucker but can't do it, and that'll result in the play coming in offside. And the stoppage, 13:50 to go first period, 1-0. St. Thomas with the lead on the 5th goal of the season by Rob Christie, one of the 2 Christie brothers we'll be talking about quite a bit tonight for the Cadets. Face off just outside of the St. Thomas blue line. Goes off a skate, comes on the near side area. Chasing after it is Smith for the Eagles, as well as the 21, Brendan McFadden for the Cadets. That one thrown in and then held on to by Dietrich. Blake Holmes, the puck handler for the Cadets, sending that one in deep, and we'll have a face-off to the left of Dietrich with 13:28 now remaining in the first period. Cadets with 2 shots on goal, known so far for the Eagles. The Eagles win the face-off, but controlled by the Cadets. Rudrud ahead at the red line. Rudrud throws it toward the net, steered aside by Kelly. Cadets coming the other way, but the puck just a little bit out of reach of Ben Stucker. Behind the net is Holmes, but he's harassed there and sent back behind the Cadets' net. Now at the red line with it, trying to gain a hold on it is McFadden. He's able to gain the blue line. Fadden around to the near side corner, rings it around the Eagle net. Big hit put on. That's another big hit put on. So both teams putting on a couple of nice hits there with that puck able to be sent back down into the Cadet zone. Very physical play thus far from both teams. Both teams like to put on hits. Comes Luke Herzog with one of 3 brother tandems on the Cadets team in recent years. Well, now he's the lone Herzog representative. It's Herzog as that one poked away from him from behind by Pajor, but able to push it back toward the corner. It's Herzog sending it back around the Eagle net. Ryan O'Neill trying to work his way around Pajor, but can't. As sent back around by Schimek. There's O'Neill. O'Neill tied up in the corner. That one poked away from him and now sent out, but then sent back in. Not sure how that offsides wasn't called there, as it looked pretty clear that O'Neill was still offsides, but none called as the Cadets back into the offensive zone. On the far side corner, pile up. The Cadets come away with it. Eagles defenders' centering attempt. Great save by Dietrich with the pad. Able to keep that one from being backdoored on him. There's Schimek. Schimek sends that one into traffic. It's blocked out front by Pajor, but Schimek, now that one toward the net, save by Dietrich. One of the near side boards. Comes Lesko with it up the right wing. He'll just dump that one in deep, and the Eagles will change. Cadets had a few chances on that sequence, but Dietrich and a host of others able to steer it aside. As here's a turnover in the zone as Austin Krebsbach trying to hammer that one home, but that one sent into the corner. Now here comes Ray Christie chasing after that puck, but Middlestead will get to it first. Rather, that's Conan. Here's Krebsbach trying to get it up to Middlestead. Middlestead sending it in deep around the net. There's Jensen down low. It'll vacate the zone. Here's Ray Christie at the red line. Banking it off, there's Matsui, but Matsui comes in offsides, and we'll have a face-off outside the blue line. 10:19 to go, first period, 1-0. St. Thomas with the lead. Want to thank our great sponsors for this evening. Tavern on 4 and 5. Walzer Toyota, Green Mill and Shirts Unlimited have a player of the game coming up later on, presented by Shirts Unlimited as well. There's Wilhite pushing that one out of the zone. Here's Rudrud, takes a hit from Holmes, knocked off. The puck is in with a chance. It was Wilhite, but unfortunately, save was made there by Kelly. Is that one now in the far side area? Cade Huntley down low. There's a shot steered aside. Huntley with that shot. Just getting the pad on it was Dietrich. Whiffing on that one is Holmes, but Holmes able to keep it. Going directed toward the net. It's blocked. The Eagles come out with it. There's Garrett Smith. Smith will send it in deep. The Eagles will change. That one sent past the red line. Here come the Cadets into the zone with Schimek. One taken away from him from behind. Trying to grab the pass behind him was Pikowski, unable to do it. Here's Schimek over to O'Neill. O'Neill harassed on the near side by Langfels. As O'Neill goes to the ice, able to get up, get back on the puck as he shoots, and that one goes high over the net. Schimek holding it at the blue line, sends it around with O'Neill behind the net. He's hit there and will be covered up by Dietrich. Maybe a little bit of home cooking. 7 shots on goal now being credited to the host Cadets. Now 4 for Eden Prairie, so maybe just a fast finger on that shot counter. Face off to the left of Dietrich. Christie and Jones. Got the face off. Rob Christie almost got the chance to hammer that one home, and then Matsui almost picking up a second opportunity, but that one swept out of there. Trying to center it for Ray Christie, but can't do it, and we'll have perhaps a penalty coming up. 8:30 left to go in the first period. The Cadets lost their season opener to Minnetonka. 9-0-1 since then. Beat Eden Prairie back on December 27th in the Schwann's Gold Cup at Ritter Arena. As there's Rob Christie with a shot that's snagged. As we have some extracurricular as Christie trips over Dietrich. There's to be nothing coming of that except a face-off deep in the Eden Prairie zone. It'll be to the right of Dietrich. Matsui taking the face-off against Jones. Eagles control it. Here's Conan around the net. Throws it ahead. There's Pajor at the red line. Pajor working his way in. Has that one poked away from him. Jensen gets it back to Conan. Conan trying to center it for Jones, and that one just slowed up a bit, or Jones might have had a good chance at it. Now here's Jensen at the red line with the Conan, and at his own blue line will slow up as he's chased by Rob Christie. Jones sends that one in deep. Eagles will change. Yes, Rudrud enters for Carson Jones. That's able to send that one ahead. Here's Matsui sending that one toward the net. Joined by Ray Christie. That one goes through a couple of legs on the centering attempt. Here's Ray Christie working his way in. Christie with a shot on goal, saved by Dietrich. That's maintained possession. Look over to Holmes. And scoring on the deflection. Oh no! That one must have gone off the inside of the crossbar. I was so sure that one went in. My apologies. The play continues as it sends back into the Eagle zone. 11 shots on goal for the Cadets thus far. 6:48 to go, first period. Move it the other way with Wilhite. Wilhite leaves it for Rudrud. That one deflects up toward the netting. It hits off the glass. Far side corner. That one floats out toward the red line. Eagles maintain possession with Irwin. Irwin with a blast that Kelly couldn't quite cover up. I think he second-guessed himself whether he should have covered that one up or not. It ends up he doesn't do it, and lucky to avert disaster on that one. Eagles coming around the net with Pikowski. It's Cade Huntley. Huntley sending that one ahead as Irwin sends one on goal, and this time Kelly scoops it up and covers. 6:01 first period. 1-0 in favor of the host Cadets. The 5th goal of the year for Rob Christie. Coming at just 1:46. Face-off controlled by St. Thomas. They'll quick get it to the blue line, but not out. It's Pikowski with a shot on goal, held onto by Kelly. With a face-off this time to the left of Kelly. Pikowski taking the draw against Luke Herzog. St. Thomas controlling the face-off, and they're able to bank it out, but Eagles maintain possession. Conan. That one poked back in by Joey Grain. Now here come the Cadets the other way with Herzog. Conan, that one knocked away behind the net. Pile up in the near side corner. The Eagles come out with it with Pikowski. Pikowski ahead. Pikowski and that one offside at the blue line as Grain got a step on him. Now we'll face off just outside of the St. Thomas zone. 5:15 remaining in the first period. 1-0 St. Thomas with the lead. So the Eagles looking to snap their 4-game winless streak. St. Thomas looking to extend their 10-game unbeaten streak. 9 wins and 1 tie in their last 10. Lesko banks it off the near side boards. Grain dumps it in deep at the red line. Back to pick it up behind the net is Foley. As Irwin able to dump that one in before he takes a shot from Thomas Winges. That one gets by Ray Christie. Looking to pick it up behind the net is Winges. Winges banks it off the near side, winding up for a blast. Then it'll go up into the netting as Irwin lets one rip from the blue line. With a face-off, 4:40 to go in the first period. 1-0, St. Thomas with the lead. Face-off to the left of goaltender Kelly. Rudrud taking the face-off for the Eagles against Ben Stucker. And eventually the Cadets able to come out with it, but the Eagles do a good job of holding the zone. Pile up in the far side, near side corner. Wide out for a blast again is Irwin. That one deflected wide. And then it just kind of sits out front looking to set something up, and just tied up, unable to get the shot away was Middlestead. And coming out from behind the St. Thomas net is Stucker. St. Thomas having to spend some time in their own zone. The Eagles putting on some good pressure. Here's Middlestead at the red line. Push that one ahead. Good forecheck at the blue line by the Cadets. As Pajor sends that one in deep. Kelly playing it behind the net. Sends O'Neill the other way. O'Neill works his way in. O'Neill with a blast wide off the end wall. Centering feed is intercepted. Here's Wilhite ahead. That one will be an icing called. 3:23 remaining in the first period. 11-8 shots on goal in favor of the Cadets. With Herzog taking the face-off against Pajkowski.
Can you hear this if I do this?
Eagles controlling the face-off. Pajkowski able to bring it out of the defensive zone. He works his way in. Pajkowski in with a shot on goal, saved by Kelly. The net comes loose. Pajkowski might have been hooked on that one as he had broken through the Cadets' defense. No penalties assessed. Face-off to the right of Kelly. Pajkowski taking the face-off against O'Neill. Eagles control. Shot on goal. Blocked. As Wilhite tried to recenter it. Cadets able to push it out. Here's in, and that one shot goes wide off the stick of Herzog. Herzog now in the near side corner. The Eagles come out with it. That one able to be held in. That one's still loose, trying to center it as Dietrich is well out of the crease. So Neal tried to center that one, and that's blocked. As that one just goes wide on the deflection off of the stick of Vega. That one sent back up top. That one goes off the side of the net as well. St. Thomas putting on some great offensive chances, and now it slides in on Dietrich, and he'll make the save and just hold on to it for dear life. Some really great chances for the Cadets in that sequence. 2:23 to go in the first period as we are now joined by John Conley. Thanks for joining us, John.
It's good to be here, Patrick.
So St. Thomas controlling the pace of play thus far in the first period. They got the first tally of the game at 1:46. Rob Christie scoring his 6th goal of the year. With 2:20 to go in the first period. Eagles trying to get it out of their defensive zones. That one deflected up off the glass. Langfels back up top to Irwin. That one deflects in behind the St. Thomas net and played around where Rudrud will have it for the Eagles, and he'll throw that one at the goal, and it'll be snagged by Kelly. 2 minutes now, first period. 13-10 shots on goal in favor of St. Thomas.
So Patrick, I stepped out to take care of a technical issue and was able to watch on the stream as I drove back to the rink. St. Thomas getting a dream start, scoring almost immediately once the game began.
Absolutely, as here's Jones coming in, trying to get that one to Rudrud, but just out of his reach. There's Jensen in the corner, knocked off the puck there. Rob Christie pushing that one toward the blue line as Rudrud with a shot on goal, saved and held onto by Kelly.
It's an interesting game. These two teams played less than 2 weeks ago and went to overtime in the Schwann Cup. Eden Prairie's been looking to get traction. So far they've got a losing record. No rest for the weary. St. Thomas tonight. Next week, number 1 Duluth East, number 2 Minnetonka, followed up by a couple matches with number 4 Edina. So this would be a great turning point of the season at the midpoint for the Eden Prairie boys.
Perhaps the saving grace for the Eagles thus far have not had to kill off any penalties, an area they have very much struggled in this year, operating at just about 60% on the penalty kill.
Patrick, you bring that up. I had written down in my pregame notes, Eden Prairie's penalty kill is not bad. It's far worse than that, just a disaster. They've allowed 15 goals in just 35 chances, teams scoring at almost a 40% clip against them. Key to the game, they definitely don't want to see anyone go to the box. They need to keep this game even strength.
Some traffic in front of the net, that one able to be cleared out by the Cadets. There's Huntley in, Huntley harassed by Irwin, he'll dump it behind the net. Ben Stucker, he's tied up as well, nicely by Langfels. 33.8 remaining in the period.
A lot of discipline in the defensive zone. 3 players in Eden Prairie just standing firm in their spot. No over pursuit early for the Eagles.
Will Schimek able to hold that one in briefly, but now it is sent out to center ice. Cadets setting up at their own blue line. That one sent in deep. As that one pops loose to the forward Nico Vega. The Eagles able to come out with it with Jones. as we go under 2 seconds remaining in the period. And that'll bring us to the end of the first period here from St. Thomas Arena. St. Thomas leading 1-0, had a bounty of great other chances as well. They lead in shots on goal 13-11 as we go to the first intermission. Once again brought to you tonight by Walzer Toyota, Green Mill, Shirts Unlimited, and Tavern on 4 and 5.
You mentioned some great scoring chances. Just about 3 minutes ago, it was Luke Herzog spinning over to his backhand, shot it just wide. They definitely had the better of that shift and enjoy a nice lead as they head to intermission.
You're watching here the Eden Prairie boys hockey coverage. We'll take a break and come back with the start of the second period in a little bit. John, you brought up an interesting point about that goal that they scored in the first period. Tell us a little bit about that and what you saw.
Well, Patrick, the benefit of replay, we're able to go back and look at things. There was a breakout attempt on Eden Prairie. It didn't quite get out of the zone. I think it skipped over Jensen's stick, held in at the point. Next thing you know, it's back in the net. It does count. Number 11 skating around with his arms up in the air. But Christie did not knock the puck in. It was a phantom goal. And I don't know if it banked it off the defender. We couldn't quite tell on the video, but it was pretty clear that it was not knocked in by Rob Christie. Take them how they come.
Exactly. Irwin sent that one in toward the net from the blue line and tipped aside by Kelly. Going progressive from the center right and puts on the great Christie breaking in ahead of the puck a little bit too far out of the crease, and Beaver able to smother that one. 30 seconds into the second period, 1-0. St. Thomas with the lead. The goal coming in 1:46 of the first period, officially credited to Ron Christie, but as we pointed out now, nobody really put that in.
Carrying through on that thought, these are two teams that have had a lot of trouble this year scoring. I know St. Thomas won the Schwann and they're ranked number 3 in the state, but neither team's had a huge firepower. So, keeping with the theme, not a lot of quick goals scored in this game. Just kind of that phantom goal early, and that's the only scoring so far. Tough break there on Andrew Irwin, captain of Eden Prairie. Little stick check. He's going off for a slashing call, but you kind of wonder, well, they call it a trip. Kind of wonder if Matsui would have been a little stronger on the skates if that one goes uncalled. Nonetheless, nightmare situation. You mentioned it earlier. Eden Prairie has been horrific this year on the penalty kill. They go a man down. If there is a silver lining, Patrick, just put yourself in Lee Smith's shoes. What do you think their practice looks like? I guarantee they're working on the penalty kill. Maybe this is bottoming out, and they'll give enough attention to their box play to find a way to keep those scoring chances to a minimum on the PK.
The Eagles get off to a good start on this penalty kill scenario. They get a clear, and then they're able to send some time in their offensive zone, harassing the St. Thomas skaters.
Conan's out there on defense. We'll be talking about him a little more as the game goes on. Interesting story. He's recently moved back, having started the season as a forward. Nice active stick there. Chase Foley, one of the captains for St. Thomas, down there low, looking for that puck on his forehand. He had an open net back door had that pass gotten through. It was a changeup, Patrick. Off-speed pitch. Penalties killed. What a great 2 minutes for the Eagles. Matsui, no relation to the fullback for the Chicago Bears back in the 90s. I did want to mention, Patrick, I have in my possession a nickname. I have a dating game nickname for every member of St. Thomas Academy today. I'm going to call him Practical Patrick. Practical Peyton Matsui. Joey Lesko got the shot on goal there, but Joey Grain was wide open in the high slot. He was just looking for that. Entering the zone, third man high, Grain was wide open, and I'm sure we'd love to get that pass delivered to him.
O'Neill and Rudrud in the face-off circle. Rudrud able to possess it for the Eagles, sends it up to Conan. Conan pokes it into the offensive zone for the Eagles. That one poked away from Wilhite into the far side corner. Wilhite comes out with a centering fee. That one goes wide off the stick of Rudrud. Will work its way all the way back down into the Eagles zone. The Eagles back to pick it up there, but they've met with some St. Thomas players looking to force a big mistake deep in the Eden Prairie zone. As Pager banks it off the end wall. Now in the far side corner. The Eagles come out with it, 2-on-2, ahead for Smith. Smith will hide. That one deflects off a stick and goes wide.
Nice play there in the neutral zone by Smith, catching that, getting control of it. Then zone entry, breaking wide, pulled the defender a little bit out. They managed to muster a shot on goal. Very impressive zone entry there by the Eagles.
As that one sort of worms its way over to Rob Christie, and he lets one rip on goal, saved by Dietrich.
Regular Rob Christie. So we mentioned the dating game nicknames. Patrick, did you know esteemed graduate of St. Thomas Academy, Jim Lang, longtime host of the dating game, now deceased, rest in peace, but it does seem appropriate that Practical Peyton Matsui, regular Rob Christie, and before we get done, I've got a dating game nickname for all the cadets.
The cadets making the last change. The Eagles able to control the face-off. No, that held in by Ray Christie as he shoots in on goal. Ray Christie, the superstar forward for St. Thomas, able to hold that one in and get a shot on goal.
Christie headed in the future to play for the Colorado College Tigers, one of the NCAA committed players in this game, along with his brother and Jack Jensen. He's been a standout thus far this year. Him and Matsui, far and away the leading scorers on this team. Christie's got 20 points.
This one sent all the way down into the St. Thomas zone. Back to pick it up is Thomas Winges. He'll have to reverse course and bring it around the near side boards. Possessing it there is Christie. Christie has that one sort of go off his stick as Jensen harassed him from behind, but the cadets maintain possession. Matsui sends it ahead. Here's Rob Christie in, leaves it behind him for Foley, who has a blast on goal sent into the corner by Dietrich. Christie harassed by Langfels. Matsui comes out with it. Matsui looking to center it down low, and that one gets by Christie, Ray Christie on the centering attempt, but Ray Christie comes out with it. There's Foley. Foley toward the net. That one goes off the end wall, and the Eagles come out with it. And dumped out past the red line by Middlestit.
Got a face-off coming back into the St. Thomas end, playing the puck above the shoulder. Gives the Eagles a little bit of zone relief. They were pinned back in their own end for a little while there, and a couple of St. Thomas shots whistled just wide.
Well, the face-off to the left of Kelly this time. It'll be Ben Stucker taking the face-off against Pikowski. The Eagles control the face-off. Conan down that one into traffic. It works its way through all those Eagle sticks back into the neutral zone. Eagles send it back in deep. Now here's Bamer. Bamer, who had played it around the net, now in the tie-up on the near side. St. Thomas coming out with it momentarily. There's Brendan McFadden trying to get it out of the zone. He finally does, but that was certainly not easy with Grain and Pikowski tying him up from both front and back.
Conan's counter move there ran into some static as he turned right into Ben Stucker of the Cadets. Eventually they managed to get it out.
Grain ahead. Grain centers it for Pikowski, but that one poked off of his stick. It comes into the near side corner. Pager from the blue line sends that one toward the net, but it's taken away there by Bamer, and Bamer briefly sent it to the blue line, and now it is out at center ice. And the Cadets send it in deep. Pager will be back to play it for the Eagles.
Long line.
Got the line changed. That one sent wide by Grain, tied up at the last second by Schimek, and couldn't get a shot away, or a good shot away rather. And that one goes off the post, off the stick of Pikowski. St. Thomas breaks out back the other way. Shot that one saved by Dietrich. That was off of Carter Henry's stick. Back around to that one in on goal from Schimek. Now around the Eagle net, Schimek. That one go off the skate of Smith. Smith playing without a stick. That one sent back toward the blue line. Schimek will get it back along the right wing side, and now in the near corner, Eagles trying to come away with it. Taken away nicely by O'Neill. O'Neill works his way around Dietrich, but as that one's saved by the goaltender, and it'll be sent back out. Will drift into the St. Thomas zone with 8:16 left in the second period. So great chances again at both ends, but no one able to find the twine. It remains 1-0 St. Thomas.
I'm really impressed here by St. Thomas shift after shift. They gave up that stretch pass to Grain, and it was just a few seconds after their Pikowski rung the post. But as soon as they got out of their end, they were able to sustain pressure for quite a while and generate some nice scoring chances of their own.
Foley leaves it for Rob Christie. It rings around the net. Smith able to send it out to center ice. But the Cadets setting up with that pass a little bit too far for Christie, and that'll result in an icing with 7:38 left in the second period. Tonight's game once again brought to you by Green Mill, Tavern on 4 and 5, Walzer Toyota, and Shirts Unlimited.
So Patrick, I mentioned Jim Lang, host of the dating game earlier. Not the only distinguished alum of these schools. Going to go with the military man here. WWF days back in the 80s and 90s, Sergeant Slaughter. Which school do you suppose Sergeant Slaughter attended?
Oh, my guess? The obvious guess would be Eden Prairie, but my guess is going to be it was actually St. Thomas.
So he went to Eden Prairie. Seems like he'd have been a better fit at the military school back at St. Thomas Academy back in the day. But for those listening, and I know we've got Jeff Conan listening from Rhode Island, got Ileana Brignoni listening from Connecticut, got people all over North America, may not know these communities or know these schools. Sergeant Slaughter, one-time student at Eden Prairie High.
It's Matsui with Christie as Matsui shot is kicked aside by Dietrich. That one sent around the Eden Prairie net. St. Thomas able to put more pressure on here as Foley pulled that one in briefly, but here come the Eagles the other way. 3-on-2 if they hurry. Jensen, that one go wide. Centering feed, they score! Jensen able to get it back, and he ties this game at 1.
So nice they named him twice. Spencer Rudrud with the pass. out. Jensen had a wide open goal. Beautiful play there as they connected, tying the game, and most importantly, seizing momentum away from the Cadets.
Of momentum, which had steadily been moving in the Eagles' favor. They're finally able to cash in that beautiful pass from Rudrud to Jensen. Jensen with the wide open net. Jensen, who scored as well on Thursday. He has his 12th goal of the year, and this game is tied at 1.
Yeah, 12 goals, 10 assists, 22 points so far. Jensen's one of the guys in discussion for Mr. Hockey 2019. He's just a junior.
Just working his way in was Brendan McFadden, but it was kind of tied up. Didn't get much on that shot. It sort of wobbled in. St. Thomas quickly trying to reestablish momentum. Just trying it around the net is Stucker. Stucker with that one poked away from him, though. Able to hold the line, though, is Holmes. Holmes sends that one in. It might have hit off of Dietrich. The Eagles quickly back the other way. Centering feed for Grain, well out of reach.
Great job there a moment ago by Langfels and Conan for the Eagles. Nice save by Dietrich, but there was a rebound to tidy up. Immediately the defense got it cleared out of there, and that's very important if they're going to somehow find a way to win this game.
Grain to Lesko. Lesko's shot rebounds right to Middlestead, but Middlestead sends it over the top of the net. St. Thomas quickly back the other way as one of the St. Thomas players takes a spill play to the right of the Eden Prairie goaltender Dietrich. Coming out with it is Herzog. Herzog was looking to center it, but he got tied up, had it poked away, but St. Thomas able to get it back. Here's Herzog around the net, looking for the wraparound, and then he tries to center it. Now Dietrich able to send that one aside again, as this one we sent all the way down for an icing.
Eden Prairie shifts up, and I want to talk real quickly about one of the more interesting stories in Minnesota high school hockey this year, and that's Chris Conan. So Patrick, he's a well-traveled player, Florida youth, wound up as his father moved around at some point playing in the Northeast, passed through the Waconia system as his mom's from Glencoe. But last year was on the champion team in New England prep school hockey, similar level to Minnesota. Played for Tim Whitehead at Kimball Union. Tim was longtime coach at University of Maine. March, he comes to the Minnesota State High School tournament and immediately enrolled at Eden Prairie and said, I want to play Minnesota high school hockey my senior year. Here he is, and he's a big part of the Eagles team.
Jensen to Irwin. Irwin didn't get much on the backhand. Rob Christie up the left wing with it. Christie will send that one behind the Eagle net as Irwin knocked off the puck by Christie. Good job by Rob Christie there. And here's Ray Christie with a shot that goes into the corner. Matsui banks it back toward Ray Christie. Christie tied up, and the Eagles eventually trying to send it forward. Matsui is tied up. Ray Christie sends it back into the corner. It's Rob Christie. So back around the net, Matsui has that one go through his stick. The Eagles come out with it the other way. Rudrud, when poked away at the blue line, trying to spring Rudrud. Here's Matsui back the other way with it. Matsui to Ray Christie. Scoring! That's
Chase Foley. What a beautiful goal. Charismatic Chase Foley loitering back at the high slot, kind of drifting into the mid-slot area. They wind up finding him plenty of room and a wide open goal. What a goal scorer's dream right there as Dietrich was caught out of position.
Dietrich caught out of position. As we've said all night, the Christie brothers playing a huge hand in that goal as Foley puts the Cadets back up 2-1 with 3:54 remaining in the second period. That goal coming at 13:06. So that kind of takes the momentum back. St. Thomas, as we mentioned, trying to extend their unbeaten streak to 10. It would be 10-0-1 in their last 11 if they win tonight.
Foley's a defenseman, but he's a big scorer. His goals have been big ones. That's his 5th goal of the year. He also scored the overtime goal in the Schwann Cup when these teams met back 2 weeks ago, December 27th.
As Brendan McFadden was almost able to work his way around Langfels and get a shot on goal, but he lost control of the puck at the St. Thomas offensive end. Here's Langfels in. Langfels has that one stopped by Kelly. Here come the Cadets the other way.
I like that play. Langfels looked off Kresbach. When you do that, you freeze the defender and freeze the goalie momentarily. Huge difference between entering the zone and shooting, or entering the zone, looking off and freezing the defender and the goaltender, and then taking your shot. Great play there by Langfels.
Langfels ahead to Grain. So Langfels, but the Cadets able to poke that one back out to the red line. Here's Conan over to Grain. That one goes off the back of the stick, and that'll drift into the St. Thomas zone. Holmes over to Nico Vega as Vega goes to the ice. Middlestead comes out with it. And that one just going wide off the stick of Smith.
Wow, Middlestead and Smith working a 2-man game down low. They're not going to have many chances better than that. That would have been the equalizer.
So Middlestead sends that one in on goal, and it will be covered up by Kelly as Garrett Smith makes his presence known for the Eagles. 2:18 now remaining in the second period. 2-1, St. Thomas with the lead.
St. Thomas is just having a great season so far. Their record entering the game, very impressive at 9-1-1. The loss was right out of the gate to Minnetonka in overtime. That's a game Atticus Kelly did not play, and there's chatter about him being as good as any goaltender in the state. So obviously this is a team that's built for high expectations through the rest of the season, and possibly AA state champs, which would be a huge step, as the program has lots of banners on the wall, but they all say Class A.
As Kelly coming into tonight with just a 1.79 goals allowed average. That's a very good goals allowed average. Play continuing now in the St. Thomas zone. The Cadets win the face-off, sending it around as Foley, the goal scorer a moment ago. Rob Christie trying to get that one ahead, got tied up from behind as there's along the far side in the penalty area. St. Thomas comes out with it as St. Thomas lucky to avoid a turnover as Jack Jensen's thinking about trying to spring that one possibly to try to get this game tied up. 1:48 remaining in the second period. 2-1 St. Thomas with the lead. St. Thomas scoring first very early on in the first period. Now each team with a goal here in the second period. We're about to go under a minute and a half. As Irwin back to pick it up for the Eagles. Will set up behind his own net. With Rob Christie lurking as that one goes off of the stick of Jensen at his own blue line. Now here's Irwin in. Irwin with Jensen. Irwin's shot goes over the top of the net.
When you watch these games streamed online, you don't always see the whole ice like we do. For those at home, St. Thomas only had one player in. For clogging that neutral zone, St. Thomas running a trap right now, trying to make sure they can clog up any of the zone entry. Makes sense, as a lot of the Eagles' scoring chances have come on rushes.
1 minute remaining exactly in the period. Is coming off of the icing. We'll have a face-off to the left of Kelly. And St. Thomas wins the face-off with Foley sending that one just past the blue line. Herzog and looking to center that one over to Holmes. Holmes is kind of trying to corral the bouncing puck. Was able to, but didn't get a lot on that shot, and the Eagles come out with it the other way. There's Pikowski in. Pikowski trying to work his way in. He'll try to backhand one on Smith, and he'll hold on to it or Kelly rather, and he'll just hold on to it with 34.1 left in the period.
St. Thomas forwards are doing an excellent job. That time it was Blake Holmes they found lurking in as a fourth in the zone. He's a defender stepping in. The second goal came when they found Foley. drifting in from the blue line into about the mid slot. So really credit the St. Thomas forwards. They're crashing the net with a lot of pressure, but they are looking back, and that's how they're creating that space. Another good scoring chance there from Blake Holmes.
Matsui and Jones taking the face off. It's sent out to center ice by the Cadets. Jensen able to hold that one in. Well, we thought he was able to hold it in, but I guess not, and it'll be an offside. We'll have a face-off outside of the blue line with 24.6 remaining.
So, Patrick, this has been a really well-played period. It's 1-1 this period, the difference so far in the game being that goal St. Thomas scored in the first 2 minutes. And one thing that I'm going to be watching through the rest of this game, 18 in red, Jensen, he's trying to get pucks. They're sending him out of the zone early on the breakout. They're trying to find him some room, trying to spring him maybe an opportunistic scoring chance. Not a surprise as they moved Conan from forward to D. They just don't have that many goal scorers. But definitely a storyline for the third period is Jack Jensen going to be able to find some room and get a breakaway chance on Atticus Kelly.
That'll bring us to the end of the second period, 2-1 St. Thomas. So you said a very well-played period, a lot of momentum swings on both sides, but St. Thomas ends up going to the second intermission with that 1-goal lead that they had left over from the first. I always tell all my analysts that I'm still pretty new at it, play-by-play for hockey. So yeah. You're doing good. Oh, thank you. Welcome back to the St. Thomas Ice Arena. Patrick Lilia along with John Conley. John, what do you think we can expect to see in the third period?
You know, Patrick, I'm really excited for it because the game's been every bit as good as advertised. In my prep work for today's game, I was looking at the forward schedule for both teams. There's no rest coming up for Eden Prairie. Mentioned it earlier. Number 3, St. Thomas, Cloquet, followed by number 1, Duluth, East, number 2, Minnetonka, Wayzata, Stillwater, number 4, Edina, Blake, who's actually pretty good, and they come right back with Minnetonka, Wayzata, and Edina. So they've got a brutal schedule. They're looking to do something to get back up to 500. They enter the game 5-6-1. If they're going to have a winning record this year, they're going to have to win games like this. They've got a lot to cling to. They recently took St. Thomas to overtime, and today they've played every bit their equal. On the other side, St. Thomas, they've got a pretty cozy schedule coming up. Their next 6 games, Hastings, Tartan, Bloomington Jefferson, North St. Paul, South St. Paul, and then Simley. It's hard to imagine them losing any of those. And then they get some rivalry games, Creighton-Durham Hall, Hill Murray, Duluth Marshall, some of the better private school teams in the area and the state. So I think I'm going to go out on a limb here, Patrick. I think even though they're down 2-1, I think the Eagles find a way to win this one. I think we've got an upset brewing.
This play quickly pushes into the Eden Prairie zone right away. Here's Matsui. Matsui trying to center it for Rob Christie. That one taken away from him from behind as the net comes dislodged with Christie sliding head first into it. A quick stoppage, just 14 seconds into the period.
Elsewhere around the Twin Cities on a Catholic school on the other side of town, Benilde Red Knights leading 4-2 at this point over Chanhassen. Sophomore Schweitzer with a hat trick, which is very impressive. He's a defenseman. I mention that because he's one of the kids that's earned an invitation to the USA Hockey's national camp. We've got quite a few players in this game that have done the same. Jack Jensen, Matsui, Kelly, Christie, and alternate last year, sophomore defenseman for Eden Prairie, Luke Busby. These are some players outside of the school setting being recognized by USA Hockey as some of the better kids their age in the country.
Rob Christie with a beautiful shot on goal a moment ago on the feed from Foley. Held onto by Dietrich. Face off to the right of Dietrich, controlled by the Cadets. Here's Hallam in the near corner with it. As that one poked away from behind by Irwin. Now the Brendan McFadden coming away from it, able to hold that one in just barely as his centering feed goes off of a skate and drifts out into neutral ice.
Rudyard's having a great game. You know, I almost wonder if I jotted something down wrong. My prep work, I wrote down 0 goals, 1 assist so far in the season. Had that beautiful assist today. Hard to believe he's only got 2 points so far this year.
You know, he had a lot of good ice time in the game at Pryor Lake. Shows a lot of great hustle as typical of these Eden Prairie skaters. He gets his nose dirty, as they will say in some circles.
All right, watch the red centerman here, Patrick. I've been watching his play through the second period. They're trying to get him sprung, looking for an opportunistic transition play. Look for him to be maybe cheating out of the zone, trying to get a breakout pass on a stretch. I think Jensen's going to be the one to tie this game up. Not too far off from now.
Matsui didn't get a lot on the pass, trying to get it over to Rob Christie as Christie was streaking up the left wing side, but didn't get a lot on it. It gets eventually covered up by Dietrich.
So I mentioned that I was trying to give some flavor for these communities and these schools. Back to the alumni list, there's a writer with a series of books that graduated from St. Thomas. Vince Flynn is the author of the Mitch Rapp series, somewhat of a spy thriller genre. And unfortunately, Vince Flynn, also rest in peace, deceased after battle with an illness, died a couple years ago.
Is looking to center it behind the net. is Vega. He'll get it back over to Wingus. And if Foley able to fight through that check. The Eagles trying to get it away from in front of the net, and that went just out of the reach of Jensen, and you're pointing his direction. They almost had that one going.
He was maybe a foot away. If that pass was delivered just a little bit further left, he was a foot away from being sprung. I don't think he could have gotten to net. It looked like he was too tired to pull away at the end of that shift. But you can see they're trying to find Jensen and trigger him for a scoring chance to try to get the equalizer.
Busby, whom you had just mentioned, he sends that one around the Eagle net. The Eagles looking to break out with Irwin. Irwin has that one poked nicely behind by Stucker.
We'll watch the breakout here. Earlier this season, I had a chance to see St. Thomas. It was one of their closer games as they beat Benilde. They were running some very complex, confusing breakouts. Now here we are mid-season, third period. They're running a very vanilla butts to the board standard breakout. So I'm kind of intrigued by that as they're kind of going basic here the further we get into the season.
Spikowski gets a shot on goal, and then the rebound shot on goal, both kicked aside by Kelly. The Eagles quickly back the other way out of their own zone. Here's Busby with a shot that's deflected off the right pad of Kelly, and the Cadets with the other way. There's O'Neill. O'Neill trying to work his way around three defenders, does get a good shot on goal that bounced in on Dietrich. That was a tougher save than one might have thought it was going to be.
I've never seen a puck bounce like that. It ground itself into the ice about 12 feet in front of him and shot up high. It was like an odd, strange bounce you'd get on AstroTurf. Beautiful scoring chance there.
That was O'Neill, who was just denied on that centering shot.
Yeah, they're playing the video back. Watch this puck bounce. It was just like they teach you when you're a little kid in baseball. Get your body in front of the grounder in case it gets away from you. That took a very now I know pucks aren't round, but geez, that was a crazy bounce. Nice play there.
That one gets through to Dietrich. He steers it aside. Carson Jones putting on a big hit in the corner. As that one ripped off by Rob Christie. It was just one of those bounces that found its way over to Christie, and he let it rip.
Yeah, that's just a disaster there on the breakout. When the pass didn't connect for Eden Prairie, it found its way onto Rob's stick, and boom, quick glove there kept this at 2-1. But I'm sure it's not in the game plan to give up scoring chances like that. Dietrich with the save.
Christie takes the face off, pushes it ahead. It'll worm it all the way around. Holmes having to go pick it up for the Cadets. He'll send it around his own net. There's Will Height tied up by a couple of Cadets, including Rob Christie. But the Eagles able to momentarily hold it, and now it is poked out to the red line.
Now, watch the breakout here. Earlier this season, the wings on St. Thomas in that Benilde game were leaving the zone, trying to draw the defenders out. Today, it's a much more stable, very vanilla standard breakout scheme they're running. I'm kind of perplexed by it. I thought as the season would progress, they might get more complex in what they're trying. They seem to be going the other way.
Carson Jones with that shot on goal a moment ago, held on to by Kelly. Waiting for a face-off member to take the circle for the Cadets. One finally does. That's Hallam. Now
Hallam's a great story. Just a ninth grader. There's some kids that can make varsity at some schools, 9th, 10th grade. But Hallam, as a ninth grader, he's playing quite a bit for one of the top couple teams in the state. I think they entered the game ranked number 3. That's pretty impressive as a ninth grader.
As Hallam will chase that, but it will go for an icing. 12:30 remaining in regulation. 2-1. St. Thomas with the lead.
So, Patrick, I mentioned Vince Flynn's an alum of St. Thomas. Eden Prairie's got some guy on a TV show called Longmire whose character's named the Ferg. aside from athletes, there really aren't that many distinguished alumni for Eden Prairie. So for our viewers out there outside the state of Minnesota wondering what Eden Prairie's famous for, that's an easy one. It's where the movie Mallrats was filmed, Kevin Smith movie about 20 years ago.
As Irwin a moment ago had that shot that sort of trickled in and almost made its way through, with the Cadets possessing it at the red line. Here's Hallam. Hallam in with speed. I think he caught those Eden Prairie players off guard a little bit. It trickles out to Foley looking for his second goal, but it slides off of his stick into the corner. Hallam in a battle down low.
Hallam got that pass through to Cade Hundley. Just a little bit of static there. He couldn't quite operate through all the traffic, but real good pressure here from Huntley, who's only got 2 goals this year, and Hallam. You know, if we could see the scoring broaden out for St. Thomas, that'd be a great sign at this point in the season, as a lot of the goals have come from the same cast of characters.
Good play by Conan, intercepting that long cross-ice pass, bringing it deep into the zone. Cadets able to get it out to center ice. Here's Hundley, has that one poked away from him. Here's Pikowski now with it. Pikowski, the shot on goal saved and held on to by Kelly.
Ryan O'Neill coming up through the neutral zone, got around the Pikowski, but lost the puck in the process, gave Eagles a nice 3-on-2 rush, getting another shot to goal. Time's not a factor yet, 11:16 remains, but once we get down to that 10-minute mark, I think we'll see a steady diet of the boys in blue gaining the red line, dumping it down to the end wall.
As Holmes tied up in the corner in the puck battle, now a 4-person pile up, but eventually comes out with it for the Cadets. But a good play there by Grain, able to send it back in behind the net.
Great play by Grain. Specifically what they're doing that I like, they're leaving that third forward high on the forecheck. Offside play. They're leaving the third forward high. Edina was doing that in the Schwann Cup as well, but then they were using that third forward as an excuse to leave the zone early and try to get 3 guys to clog up the neutral zone. What Grain's doing that I like, he's layering behind those attacking F1, F2, those 2 forecheckers, and as they're breaking out into the middle part of their defending zone, Grain's pinching in, closing that space, keeping the play alive, keeping the pressure on for Eden Prairie.
Conan controls the face-off for the Eagles, looking to get something going, but as you said, that neutral zone again masterfully clogged up by the Cadets as Kelly covers it up at the St. Thomas end.
Conan the Barbarian, he's a fun one to talk about. He played on a squirt team back in the day. This is a team out of Tampa. I'll kind of rattle off next stoppage of play who his teammates were. Let's just say Chris Conan, last year playing on the champion team in New England Prep School Hockey, and this year playing for Eden Prairie. He's not fazed by any level of competition, and you'll know why when I tell you who he used to play hockey with back in squirts.
Good job by the Eagles applying some defensive pressure as that one goes through the legs. As it gets back to Christie. Christie in 1-on-4 as that one taken away nicely by Langfels, but somehow it ends up being sent back toward Dietrich and he has to kick it aside. Headley able to, Foley able to hold the zone. I was thinking about baseball because we had all these baseball references earlier. Chase Headley, the Yankees third baseman from a couple years ago. It was Foley who sends that one in.
Boy, that was almost a nightmare there for Eden Prairie's goaltender Dietrich. He stuck the leg pad out and caught just enough of the puck, but he had his heel dig into the ice and he couldn't move. That pass almost got through to Ben Stucker. He would have had all the time in the world with an empty net had the puck just hopped a little bit differently.
Coming out with it behind the Eagle net and then going to the ice. And like we'll have a penalty coming on that one.
Hand pass. Hand pass called. They changed the rules a few years ago. The defending team can make a pass in their own end, but nowhere else on the ice is a hand pass allowed. It looked like they could have called him for pushing someone down a little bit from behind. No penalty to call, but it does nonetheless get the face-off in their own end. And can't tell if they are or are not allowed a line change. But Here's a line that's been very impressive today. Rudrud's been great, and he tries to go right off the faceoff to goal.
Rudrud won the faceoff. Should mention just one penalty in the game. That one coming back in the early stages of the second period. It was assessed to Eden Prairie. They were able to kill it off. But other than that, no one sitting in the sin bin at all tonight, other than that one penalty.
So, Patrick, what's the bigger surprise? That there's only been one penalty in this game, or that Eden Prairie successfully killed it off, running just 60% kill rate so far this year?
Oh, that's kind of a cruel one, John.
Hey, call them like we see them. It's interesting. You know, running a percentage at 62% kill, meaning they're allowing goals 38% of the time. St. Thomas doesn't have that strong of a power play. They're a 28% clip. I think equally disturbing, Eden Prairie's only scored on 18% of their 5-on-4 chances this year. So special teams has not been a big part of the game, and you kind of wonder, is Eden Prairie going to be able to muster another even-strength goal to tie this one up?
As Conan has that one blocked initially, and that eventually that goes to the Cadets, and that one dumped in deep by Herzog. Tied up in the corner is O'Neill, and that was sent out to center ice, and Headley sent... I did it again, I'm sorry. Foley sends that one in deep again behind the Eagle net.
They missed an offside call there. They let play continue. It was touched by St. Thomas on the attacking side of the blue line while someone was still in the zone. Type of thing that could really throw a wrench into the plans for Eden Prairie, but fortunately they were able to clear the puck out without giving up a goal. Face-off back in their own end. We just hit the midpoint of the third period. It's 8:26 remaining, 17-minute periods. Now the clock starts to become their enemy. I'm anticipating St. Thomas gaining the red line, dumping it down to the end wall any chance they get, just trying to milk this clock and see if they can run out this for a 2-1 win.
Matsui says that one go off of Wilhite's skate. Eagles with Jensen quickly the other way. He's 1-on-3. But good follow-up by Wilhite, and almost backdoored. So that one goes, one of the St. Thomas defenders went to the ice to block that one. The Eagles maintaining possession. Jensen throws that one as almost 5 holes on Kelly, but he's able to send it into the corner.
Great shift here from Eden Prairie. They're getting a lot of pressure, and you know they're playing with a sense of urgency, which you love to see for a trailing team. Back of the net.
Carson Jones ties the game at 2 off of that beautiful feed.
Jack Jensen to Jones. What a great play. Talking about a great shift. And they finally found a little bit of white space. As you see on the replay right now, just drifting in there, not a defender within 4 or 5 feet of him, enough room to get that shot off. Atticus Kelly unable to adjust, and we have a tie game, just 7:42 remains. What a turner right there.
That's Jones' 7th goal of the season, that one coming at 9:18 of the third period. So quick momentum shift again. We saw quite a few of those pendulum swings in the second period. John, the Eagles, as you said, you think they're going to pull an upset off tonight, and that certainly helps the cause. They tie the game.
I was calling for the upset tonight, mainly because I just can't imagine Eden Prairie coming up on the rest of their schedule if they didn't come away here with a win. They've had some good results, and they haven't had a lot of puck luck. Today's a day they really need to see their fortunes turn, or it's going to be tough sledding as they enter the Lake Conference. Two turns each with both Edina and Minnetonka.
Langfeld sends that one back into the St. Thomas zone, but the Cadets break it out. O'Neill tied up at the blue line, but coming through is Vega. Vega, that one.
It was a streaking Herzog there that took out Dietrich. I think a stick got caught and caught Dietrich in the face. They get a stoppage of play, but boy, that was dangerous there for Dietrich.
Go ahead, John.
I was just going to say, Patrick, I'm just stoked. We have got a great game Tuesday night here, Mendota Heights. 6:45 remains, and The Schwann Cup Gold Division champs are on the ropes at home against Eden Prairie. Pretty good Eden Prairie team, but they do have a losing record. I don't know. I'm stoked for the rest of this one.
The Eagles break their way through the zone. Pager sends it around the St. Thomas net. Cadets able to break out with it momentarily. Eagles possess it back at their own blue line. Pikowski trying to get that one around Herzog, but can't. Now I think we've seen looks like a battle of traps setting up. Neither team wants to give up that go-ahead goal in such a late stage of the game.
Not to mention that on this shift, it's like the puck has an invisible string on it. Every time somebody goes to get possession, it just kind of bounces away from them. So kind of a funky little puck we got going here. And, both teams go for a fresh 5. See if this one settles down a little bit more.
So the icing will bring it deep into the St. Thomas zone. Now 5:58 remaining in regulation. I want to remind you tonight our sponsors, Green Mill, Tavern on 4 and 5, Shirts Unlimited, and Walzer Toyota. Thanks to all of our great sponsors as St. Thomas controls the face-off. Rob Christie at his own blue line trying to spring Matsui on the right wing as that one sends up out front, but it's cleared out by the Eagles.
What a great play by Conan to clear that puck out. He is doing an outstanding job. Converted forward, only came back to play defense in the last couple games. He's really had a great game for the Eagles.
Conan in the corner. That one sent ahead by Will Height. The Eagles break out, but have another stoppage at 5:24.
Testing. Things just got more interesting. Cross-check the call. They tied the game, middle of the third period, and now Jensen, their only NCAA Division I committed player, he's headed to the University of Minnesota. Jensen goes off with a cross-checking penalty, and what's staring Eden Prairie in the face is that troublesome penalty kill rate. They have only killed 25 of 40 so far this year. So, Patrick, this is going to be interesting.
Clearly, it'll be Matsui taking the face-off against Jones. He's waiting to get the penalty time straightened out.
I love Foley on the power play. Take a look. If you're watching at home, they use a helmet sticker for big plays. He looks like he's the greatest player ever to play for the Ohio State Buckeyes. The entire left side of his helmet is covered with helmet stickers. It's because he makes big plays in situations like this. Watch 17 Foley all throughout this power play.
Thought that one was going to get cleared all the way down, and now it is. That was a great job initially by the Cadets to hold that one in.
30 seconds has come off. They need to kill this in pieces, 20 or 30 seconds at a time. Eden Prairie's got to get through this without ceding a goal if they want to have a chance to win this game.
O'Neill thought about winding up but backs down. That pass gets by Matsui. He might have let that one go. Here's Holmes. They'll bank it around past Christie.
Geez, just watch Foley. That left shot, he's going to find his way into that weak side back door, looking for a puck. He's on the half wall now, but watch Foley drifting there. Watch Foley. He's going to stay right there right now.
That one sent all the way down. Eden Prairie gets another important clear. 51 seconds remaining in the cross-checking penalty to Jensen, 4:11 in the game.
There's Matsui. He's far and away the leading scorer with 12 goals.
Christie scores on the backhand. Rob Christie, that'll be his second goal officially of the game. This one he actually does put in, and Eden Prairie's troublesome penalty kill has struck again. A power play goal puts the Cadets up 3-2 with 4:02 to play.
Patrick, my spidey senses were tingling as they went for the line change. I took a quick inventory of who was on the ice for them. The one that jumped out is Peyton Matsui, 12 goals so far this year, more than twice as many as the next highest. But leave it to Rob Christie, a little bit lesser heralded of the two Christie brothers, dangling in, gets it over to his backhand. I think it's 5-hole on Dietrich as he opened up the 5-hole, cutting across. Beautiful goal there by Christie. 4 minutes to go, and now Eden Prairie's dug a hole.
4 minutes remaining. Eden Prairie now down by 1. Matsui behind the net, trying to get it out, and it does. Conan back to get it as Rob Christie chasing after him. Jones with one of the goals in, has that puck poked away from behind, and it ends up on goal.
Did you see that play? It's a pass from Jensen, and Jones, little tickle with the backhand, almost slid it through. Kelly barely ready for it, but watch this play on replay. Watch 37 with a tickle with the backhand. Oh, what a great play there by Jones. Nice pass to find him down low from Jensen.
Face-off controlled by the Cadets at the red line. Sending it in is McFadden. Conan with Cade Huntley down low. As Rudrud goes to the ice. Eagles trying to break out. Here's Jones. He'll bank it back around his net. Pager. The Eagles having a lot of trouble getting out of their zone as McFadden almost forces a big turnover for the Cadets, and the Cadets will come through with it as that one goes wide off of the stick of Stucker.
So Lee Smith has been here before. There's 3 minutes to go. It's not the first time he's trailed in his coaching career. A lot of talk about what St. Thomas is going to do with the lead. A lot of red line dumps. But on the other side, he's got a timeout at his disposal. I have a feeling you're going to see a steady diet of players like Jensen, like Conan out for the rest of this game as they try to tie this one up.
Cadets possessing it in their own zone. Content to, just as you said, gain the red line, perhaps try to get that insurance goal, but they're not going to push it too much. They'll set up that trap at center ice. We see a lot of guys hanging back, hanging out with an eye toward that blue line. Here come the Eagles the other way with Jensen. Jensen is knocked off by Holmes, but Pikowski able to get it back for the Eagles. Winding up is Irwin, and it'll be saved and held on to by Kelly.
Wilhite right there trying to get that deflection, trying to do anything they can to make it difficult for Kelly. Kelly's having a great game, no surprise there. He's faced 35 shots, stopped 33 of them.
Pikowski taking the face-off against Herzog. He pushed back behind the Cadets' net. Cross-ice pass, here's Herzog. Trying to gain control of it at the blue line, then has to work his way around Langfeld. Centering feed. Ends up kind of sliding around. The puck is still loose. And the Eagles eventually come out with it.
That's Ryan O'Neill. Couldn't quite get enough of it. Little off-speed pitch came in there that didn't get past Dietrich, but you could see that would have been the dagger right there if he could have just got a little bit more. Ryan O'Neill in the low slot there for the Cadets.
So face-off deep in the St. Thomas zone. Dietrich still in net. 1:43 remaining. We'll likely see if Eden Prairie wins this face-off that Dietrich will be headed to the bench in very short order.
Well, not to mention a minute 43, so basically 100 seconds left. As expected, they've got Jensen out there. They still have a timeout. I have a feeling that you're going to see most of these Eagles out for the remainder of the game. If they get a stoppage, they'll probably call timeout and rest them.
Eagles control the face-off. Dietrich starts to make a move toward the bench as Kelly snags that one. That'll even up the shots on goal at 37 apiece.
So, Patrick, this came up earlier in a game that I did, Chaska playing Minnetonka. There goes the timeout. This came up earlier, a lot of discussion. I guess when I was a kid, it was 1 minute when you pulled the goalie. And a few years ago, really stretching that 3, 4, even 5 minutes in the playoffs. Patrick Roy coaching Colorado started pulling the goal earlier and earlier. I'm a big advocate for getting the goalie out now because they're in the attacking zone, and it's easy to say, hey, you know what, if we can get in the last minute and gain the zone, we'll pull the goalie. But now with 92 seconds left, if they can pull the goalie now, that sixth skater might be just what the Eagles need to prevent St. Thomas from ever clearing the zone.
We'll have to see how the Eagles want to set up coming out of the timeout.
He's on the bench already, so that it's pretty apparent they're going to come out with 6 skaters. It's Conan, Rudrud, Langfels, Irwin Jensen, and there's another one kind of stuck in the middle. We'll find out who that is, but I think they're coming at the Cadets with everything they've got. They're trying to get this equalizer as fast as possible.
The Cadets still have their timeout if things get hairy on their end of things, but We'll hope they won't have to use it. 1:32 remaining.
It's Lesko, Konen, Pikowski, Jensen.
It looks like it's going to be Irwin instead of Conan, at least to start the...
Irwin instead of Konen, Langfells.
Eagles win the faceoff. Langfells, oh, he's unable to hold the zone. Eagles will have to reset.
Great play there. I think it's Carson Jones that won the draw. That is so important. Like we talked about, if you want to set something up, you need to get possession of that puck. Great neutral zone play by Irwin.
And they're going to call Irwin for the hand pass because he batted that one to prevent the potential empty net goal the other way. So we're going to have a face-off back deep, which is going to have to require Dietrich to come back off the bench.
That's all right for Eden Prairie. They can't let that puck get behind them because of the empty net. There's going to be a goal. He made a great play. You don't have an easy time jumping in skates, not to mention nobody's ever been good at hockey and basketball. Oh, what a dream. The goalie's out. They've got 6 skaters. Now they can set up that forecheck.
The face-off sent all the way back down as it snakes out to the red line. Conan back on the ice now with the 6 skaters. 1 minute remaining. There's Irwin. Irwin will send it in deep. Pikowski as Kelly tries to bring it out, but it'll be held in by the Eagles.
The key when you have the goalie pulled is sending 2 or 3 guys to every loose puck. Positions no longer matter. You have to get bodies there or you end up losing the zone. They've got to get second, third player supporting that puck. They cannot let St. Thomas get out. We're down to 30 seconds in the game.
Irwin winds up for a blast as Kelly able to hold on. A little bit of pile up in front of the net.
Watch this replay. You see the shot on goal and Jensen trolling through, looking for a loose puck. Jensen over there with that left-handed shot. If he could have just popped that one out, you see Kelly makes the cover, but left the goal. Jensen is just trolling. That's a goal scorer's play right there. He's got, about a dozen on the year, and you can see how when he makes plays like that.
Jones against Ray Christie. Jones wins the faceoff. Pager toward the net. Oh, just out of reach of Jensen on the rebound. It'll come up.
Jones has just been the money man winning those 2 draws. Unfortunately, it skipped up over the stick.
As the Cadets able to push it into their zone. Good job by the Eagles to prevent the empty net goal, but then now an icing call with 6.5 left. I was about to say, might have been too little too late, but the Eagles are going to get one more chance at it with 6.5 left.
If you can gain 200 feet with the clock stopped, that's a dream scenario. It's one last gasp. If I were Eden Prairie, I'd pull the goalie again. They've got 6.5 seconds left. They really need to get all the bodies to the net. And watch Jones, what a money man. He won the last 2 faceoffs in the same spot. If he can win a third, they might get one last chance to slide one past Kelly.
Jones against Ray Christie once again in the face-off circle to the right of Kelly. Eagles win the face-off. Thrown toward the net, but wide. 2 seconds, maybe one more chance, and that'll do it. The Eagles lose another tough one tonight by a final score of 3-2 here at St. Thomas Arena. With the final decision being made late with about 6 minutes left. The second goal of the game credited to Rob Christie on the power play, and that was the difference.
Yeah, we mentioned coming in, both of us, that number jumped out, that penalty kill for the Eagles being problematic. It wasn't a typical 5-on-4 box play. It was kind of a rush, but that odd man, Christie, gets his second goal of the game. The difference, the margin on that, Jensen sent off for the cross-check with about 4 or 5 minutes to go, and it's another tough defeat. They haven't been blown out this year at all, but Eden Prairie nonetheless runs the record to 5 wins, 7 losses, and 1 tie. Heads held high. They've got a chance to take some positives from it, but the bitter taste of defeat. And what a great win for St. Thomas. They just keep finding a way to win these close games. It's been wonderful, dream season so far. Overtime win over Eden Prairie, shootout win over Minnetonka, close games with Benilde and now Eden Prairie, and they're really poised to go on a 6-game tear right now as the schedule lets up a little bit. Look for them to be ranked, number 1 or number 2 as we head into February.
So if you're the Eagles, and as you've pointed out a couple of times, they have some really tough games coming up with Duluth East, their late conference opponents. What do the Eagles have to do going forward? Does it?
Patrick, it's a great question. I don't think there's any overthinking it. They're doing the things that you need to do in order to win a game. They generated enough scoring chances today to score more than 2 goals. They had 40 shots on goal. They're definitely doing a good job keeping the puck out of the net. Goaltender played very well, and I think they're playing well in 3 zones. And it could just be the littlest thing, just a little puck luck against one of those high-ranked teams like Minnetonka or Edina, giving them a big upset win could get them some momentum. So I don't think they're going to do anything different. I was very impressed by what I saw today. Both teams, what a great game.
Absolutely. Once again, want to thank our sponsors for this evening. Green Mill, Tavern on 4 and 5, Shirts Unlimited, and Walzer Toyota. My apologies there. So who would you pick for the Shirts Unlimited player of the game tonight, John?
I don't know. The sun goes down and the stars come out. It's kind of hard for me to go against Christie. He gets that game winner. It was an interesting third period. They entered 2-1, gave up the goal. It's tied. Get a little bit of a power play chance, and then Christie with the goal. I know there's 2 of them, so let's make sure that I get my vote for the right one. It was Rob Christie with that game-winning goal. So my vote for Rob Christie. How about you?
I got to go with Rob Christie as well. We got that first goal that was credited to him that he didn't really have much to do with, but he did make his presence known quite a bit, and he did end up with that legitimate goal at the end. We're not saying the first goal wasn't legitimate, just that he was the one who ended up with it on his sheet when he didn't really score it.
They all count. So, it's always tough when you get to this point and you want to single out one player. Kelly, outstanding in goal, no surprise there. Chase Foley brings something every time I've seen St. Thomas play. He's just outstanding. He had the game winner in overtime last 2 times these teams met. He had the second goal today. Foley had a great game, but I do think I'm going to go with Rob Christie. So sounds like we're in agreement there. Great game for the Cadets and great game for Rob Christie.
Rob Christie, tonight's Shirts Unlimited player of the game. So for John and the rest of our crew, Todd Grover and Brett Johnson, I'm Patrick Lilia. Thank you for tuning in to Eden Prairie Boys Hockey tonight. We'll see you next time. Have a good night.
All right, great job.